by just 2.4 million people. And those forward-thinking parents rumbled up in loaded bakkies right before the bell. The wealthy African internationals, the Botswanans, the diamond-rich Angolans, didn't line up at all. Instead, they preferred to arrive well after the bell rang, when they could convene among themselves in the parking lot beside their black shiny BMWs and late-model Range Rovers. None of these patterns were scientific, and, as Amanda was always careful to say whenever she made any observations about her new continent out loud, she was no expert. But as the mother of a third grader at the Windhoek International School, this was what Amanda Evans had observed during her 9 weeks and 3 days so far in the country of Namibia. She wasn't counting, necessarily, but her daughter, Meg, had been marking the days off in crayon on her Dog of the Month calendar. Every morning, a new big purple X marked 24 more hours gone. Today was February 1st. Amanda had gotten a later start than usual, so was far enough back in the line to watch the other Americans from a distance. Persephone Wilder, in her gleaming Forerunner, had the window down. Amanda was vaguely surprised at this, as lowered windows were strictly against U.S. Embassy security rules, and Persephone, with her glossy red hair, creamy skin, and daily uniform of some iteration of white, didn't seem at first glance like a rule breaker. But that was definitely her arm sticking out of the window, and even from back here, Amanda could make out Persephone's ponytail bobbing back and forth as she talked. Kayla Grant waited behind Persephone in a silver Prado. Her windows were tinted jet black so Amanda couldn't see her, but she could hear Beyoncé vibrating from the car. Shoshana Levin was behind Kayla, her Highlander still covered in white dust from a family trip to Sauces Fly. The Levins, Amanda noticed, had added a pop-up tent to their roof, an impressive investment given the fact that Shoshana's husband supposedly had only a year left on his post. Amanda's car had red plates also because of her husband's consultant position as special academic advisor to the embassy. Her car, however, was a relatively modest Subaru Outback. The Evans family had been in Namibia just 2 days when they'd purchased it, but Mark declared it the perfect car, not wanting to be like those bored dickwad rednecks who sprang for enormous gas guzzlers. 21 years prior, Mark had spent a year in Namibia with the Peace Corps, so he was confident, he told Amanda, that he knew how to get around the country. But then, the very next weekend on a trip to the Kalahari, the family had gotten stuck in sand 200 kilometers from the nearest farm with no cell reception, which, Amanda had thought as they waited for 7 hours in the desert until a bakkie stopped to help them, made Mark, in some ways, the biggest dickwad of all. What was a dickwad anyway?
Google says it's a blockage in the urethra. Of like a man, I think.
Amanda blinked. Since coming to Namibia, something was happening where the private things inside her head were trickling out of her mouth in word form without her knowing it. Meg, give me back my phone.
Okay. What's a urethra?
I don't know exactly, Amanda said. She frowned. How could that be one more thing she didn't know?
Okay. The line's moving, Mom. You can go.
Amanda looked in the rear view at her daughter. Meg's green eyes, shaded by bangs, met her own, then slid back down to her notebook, leaving only a view of the top of her hat. Given the intensity of the Namibian sun, all students at the Windhoek International School were required to wear wide-brimmed sun hats any time they stepped outside, even if they were heading to the restroom in a rainstorm. Meg's navy blue hat was a comparatively sober choice, as many of the students wore brightly colored hats adorned with patches, sew-on jewels, and even cloth flowers. From afar, the school looked like a drunken garden party populated by gnomes. Amanda inched forward. Her WIS badge was properly registered and displayed correctly on the dash, just as the emails from Petra, the school receptionist, had instructed. No entrance.